Well, thank you very much. My name is Eline Delmarcelle. I'm a PhD student at Waseda in my fourth year currently. My thesis bears on the identification of naturalized citizens in Belgium and in Japan. In both of those countries, the eligibility criteria to become a citizen are relatively similar. So to have lived in the country for about 5 years, to have linguistic fluency, to be financially stable, to be of good conduct. However, the way that the procedure for naturalization is conducted, as well as the way that each nation is portrayed in the country, is very different. And so I'm trying to understand how these elements influence how those new citizens see themselves in the country. To do this, I interviewed about 20 informants in each country, people who had received citizenship, people who had attempted to, or people who were planning to do it very soon. I'll briefly expose some of my main findings. So in Japan, I observed that the apparent ethnicity of the person strongly influences whether they can feel Japanese or not. And specifically, the whites and urban residents felt that they could easily identify themselves as Japanese, but they often faced backlash when they introduced themselves as Japanese to others, so they were reluctant to introduce themselves. It's important to mention also that for them, they often naturalized because they felt a strong belonging to Japan. They wanted to show their commitment to the country. While on the contrary, for people who were from other ethnicities and who were visible ethnic others, such as people from Africa, other Asian countries, and so on, they often encounter somewhat backlash that they do not see themselves as Japanese at all. And for them, the reasons to obtain citizenship were more instrumental and practical. So for this reason, I argue that in Japan, whiteness is seen as racially neutral, which allows people to identify as Japanese more easily. Meanwhile, in Belgium, I observed that in phases recently of integration on the naturalization process strongly encourages people to see citizenship in two ways. First, as a legal protection, and secondly, as a kind of professional certification. As a legal protection because, as you know, many of them have encountered a lot of administrative issues in Belgium, and so they see citizenship as a kind of reward for the time they have spent in Belgium and a way to protect themselves against, for example, deportation. Secondly, it's a professional certification because the way that integration is seen in Belgium is that it requires linguistic fluency, working experience, as well as investment in time and money, for example, in integration classes. So in the end, the link between citizenship acquisition and professional competency is more and more clear, and therefore people see citizenship as a reward for their investment and also an investment for their future career in Belgium and in Europe. And this, of course, reinforces the privilege of highly educated migrants. So yeah, those are some of my main findings, but we can talk more about this maybe later. Thank you very much.